My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California.
What you will see reflected is the demonic and criminal pattern of conduct. You're exposing both demon possession and criminal conduct of monitoring by an entity. It's state action inside of this apartment, which is a facilitating venue. So the inspiration to engage in what is not looking for something to eat, not washing the dishes, not putting nothing in the trash. It's a demon that's pacing. A demon that's pacing with specific knowledge while they're monitoring, just like her sex partner, who was also monitoring and spiritually attacking Jason Isaac Fields, who was also stalking in this apartment. Stalking is pursuant to monitoring. This is what the entity is doing. The moment that I change position, I've been laying on the couch since the demon was pacing around an engineer light that you could clearly see on the east living room wall after 7 p.m. I am now physically moving on that couch at 9:04 p.m. This is when the demon exits out of the bedroom, monitoring the entire time. Everything that I'm publishing online about her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, onto the venue of the internet, on the Google Drive, she's monitoring that as well. They are both aware that they're both being simultaneously exposed. They are both aware that they're being exposed for being demon possessed and engaging in what is witchcraft, stalking me for years, seeking to profit from my demise, being exposed for all the ways in which they've been stealing my content, which is my content is the product of my creations, my mindset. What it is my intellectual property. The content was created to enforce my rights. The entity, including her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, and which includes Tracy Banks, this high school graduate, which is gang stalking relevant position. She's gang stalking with her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, which represents state action. There's no legitimate investigation going on, and Jason Isaac Fields is going to be prosecuted. But nonetheless, this is relevant to what is stalking with activity as the demon walks out at 9:04 p.m. crossing path, stalking with activity, simultaneity of her exiting her bedroom, where you are looking at that P.O.C. I will remind you about the diagram of this one-bedroom apartment, where you're looking at what is nothing other than a demon in a specific environment, just pacing around, coming from the bedroom to the kitchen. As I go into the bathroom, walking into the kitchen, as I go into the bathroom, using her phone on speakerphone. Whatever it is that I'm doing, this demon, who is a violent sex offender, having sex with Jason Isaac Fields based on her obsession with my genitalia, having and engaging in what is monitoring me in the bathroom based on her obsession with my genitalia. This is again Tracy Banks, license 9HUZ740. This is impunity by the government. This is ongoing malice exhibited by the government, gang stalking in an apartment. That's very malicious. All right, that's that which is designed to occur right in your face, and that which you're never supposed to be able to prove, that which is supposed to falsely depict the character of the one that would assert that you are being gang stalked by your relative, by your friend, by your spouse, etc. When they are in fact demon possessed, they're engaged in what is a supernatural, demonic means of targeting you, and what is also designed to be psychologically harmful to you, and they also derive pleasure from that. This is what Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks are still doing together. Jason Isaac Fields is going to be stripped of everything that he has gained from gang stalking me for years. This demon that has celebrated my demise, celebrated my homelessness, celebrated my being subject to terrorism, while he has been stealing ideas at the same time, while I'm creating content, enforcing my rights, improving the P.O.C. This demon, this crook, this low-life sex offending stalker. That's what he is, and that's what his sex partner Tracy Banks is as well. And he's going to be stripped of everything that he has gained from what is targeting me with his sex partner. Well, and they can go around, they can continue their sex rituals, they can continue having perverted sex group acts with other men and women. They can engage in all of their rabid sexual activity together. They just won't do it while trying to siphon money and ideas from me and from property that belongs to me. So Jason Isaac Fields will return to having having sex for free. He will return to having sex with elderly women for a fee. Whatever it is that he does, it's just that he's been doing it while targeting me, stealing intellectual property that belongs to me, and then representing it as his genius, his idea, his creation. All right, this fraud is being exposed as the sex offender, the predator, the monster that he is, while again seeking to murder and kidnap and defame me and wanting to steal my ideas. That's the basis of companies that he has formed, and content that has been stolen from me that he's profited from, and he is still gang stalking. He's still gang stalking. That's what the documentation shows as it's published on the venue of the internet. All right, it's currently 9:12 p.m. That's documentation with a stalking with activity as Tracy Banks is walking out into the living room, monitoring me and doing so. And everything that she's stating is audible activity, and it's also that which is communicated as a threat. No stalker is going to tell you that you cannot enforce your rights for them stalking you. And the entity that's maliciously stalking you in doing so while you are an employee at the facilitating venue, that employer is, which is a terrorist engaged in terrorism, is not going to tell you that you're not going to enforce your rights while they are stalking you on the job. The entity that is gang stalking you where you remain, that stalker is not, and that terrorist is not going to tell you that you're not going to enforce your rights and document the fact that they're stalking you in furtherance of murder and kidnapping you, which is why she and her sex partner, Jason Eisenfields, are still gang stalking and have been gang stalking for years. These two brokies, these two life flunkies are going to continue with their sex affair, but they're just going to do it as the brokies that they are and not stealing property that belongs to me. All right. It is currently 9:13 p.m. This is P.O.C. It is currently 11:53 p.m. It's still Friday, May 2nd, 2025. So this is documentation regarding the evidence that I am capturing pertaining to the ongoing criminal interference with what is exposure for public corruption in the state of California. Public corruption that is an unlawful and inhumane threat to my life while the government is engaging in what is a surveillance and stalking system. And it's also relevant to exposing surveillance that's underway in a manner that cannot be denied with regard to evidence of the P.O.C. and the P.O.C., which I remain subject to for purposes of murdering me, for criminally defaming me, for kidnapping me. And so this is relevant regarding the evidence of this criminal system that I remain subject to, being published on the venue of the internet, where I am publishing the evidence on a third party facilitating venue, which is YouTube, which is a reference to what's going on the internet as well. What YouTube is doing, YouTube is not doing it alone. YouTube is not the only one that's demonstrating ongoing surveillance and ongoing specific and personalized means of monitoring pursuant to an ongoing surveillance system that is currently underway, as I am exposing also the criminal conduct that is pursuant to surveillance that's committed by the government that is engaging in what are satanic methods of targeting me pursuant to what is keeping me under surveillance. And as I publish the evidence of it on YouTube, which is on the internet, where surveillance is also underway, where you and I are being monitored, YouTube is central key to what is the ongoing manipulation of my documentation. And so this is relevant to two previous videos that I documented. The screen recording video that I documented on April 24, 2025. The name of this video is Screen Recording 2025-0424, which is a reference to the date. And it continues, it's 2025-0424 at 6:49:22 p.m., which is the timestamp of when I captured the video. And I don't alter the names as I document the time that I'm capturing evidence pursuant to a natural environment and where I'm located, and my genuine interest and my understanding of the need to not touch evidence with regard to concerns like spoliation and not tampering and having no basis whatsoever to need. I don't have to touch anything. The evidence of what the entity is doing to me is proven in the body of evidence that I capture, and time and date and whatnot is also relevant for many reasons. And so I don't alter the names of the videos with regard to when I'm capturing things that are not necessarily time sensitive, like documentation, when I'm repeatedly capturing video so that you can see the faces of the sex offenders at Woodside Senior Apartments. I'm capturing what is evidence, and in the content itself, I'm capturing the specific time, but the name of that video is an instance where I am changing the title, but the title is a reference to what is bathroom monitoring that happened at a previous time. So I'm not on the toilet, panties down, capturing video in real time. So that's necessary if you understand that. Immediately following or even later pursuant to whatever it is that I'm doing, I am documenting nonetheless what is bathroom monitoring. Whether I'm capturing it after it happened, I am documenting it and I am publishing it, and it is a reference to what happened. And that moment in time of documenting it is speaking to what is a perpetual sex offense. So the entity is always engaging in what is sexual violence, which is criminal surveillance by government, where everyone lives and you don't have any actual privacy. And as I'm documenting, exposing, it's ongoing when your panties are down or when your boxers or whatever men wear, when your genitalia is exposed, when you're engaged in private activity that is supposed to be kept private, and it's not. And that's the purpose in embarrassing sex offenders and embarrassing the government and exposing it as a sex offender and a criminal that's engaging in surveillance. So with that, like I said, the video that I'm capturing and I already published on April 24th, it is referred to as it's titled, it's found on YouTube under screen recording 2025-04-24 at 6:49:22 p.m., meaning 6:49 p.m. and 22 seconds. This video is a reference to capturing, exposing what is documentation that is already published on the internet with regard to YouTube, the channel, the platform itself, not operating, not functioning, not performing in the way in which it is literally designed to perform. And that is speaking to what is also not a malfunction. It is relevant to what it is that I'm exposing. It's relevant to who, in fact, or what, in fact, the entity that YouTube is a part of, the entity, and understanding the bigger picture is understanding that companies that are profiting, making money, running businesses are not actually independently ran. They're not engaging in private speech. They're not private companies. They are state actors where they are engaging in and interested in facilitating the pattern of conduct as I've exposed it. And that is underway on YouTube, where the videos that I publish are a particular interest to YouTube, as YouTube has demonstrated it through the many creative manners in which my videos have been tampered with. And by tampered with, I mean with regard to the performance of the platform itself, like I'm documenting in this screen recording on April 24, 2025 at 6:49 and 22 seconds, I am showing how the short videos where you have the related content when under ordinary circumstances, where I'm not discussing things such as public corruption and corrupt law offices that have engaged in what is theft of my property and gang stalking through the use of a California bar license, which is criminal conduct, and a basis to lose law licensure and the ability to operate a law office, and also exposing the fact that there are demons in a law office, which is a facilitating venue under the fake sun. This is information that is exposed as I'm publishing the video of the Estelle and Kennedy law office and the video that I'm capturing and the related content, like any other short video, is designed by YouTube, who introduced this means of publishing video on its platform, but it's not operating in the way in which it's designed and on the YouTube platform. And that is also relevant to what it is that my content centers on. And it happens to be about exposing criminal conduct, about people that don't want to be exposed or depicted as criminals, that for whatever reasons, the entity decides to protect the identity of those. And you are protecting gang stalkers when you are causing the platform to operate in a manner clearly distinct and different from the way it is ordinarily designed to function. And that's what's embodied in this video that I captured in a screen recording entitled the title of the video is Screen Recording 2025-04-24 at 6:49:22 p.m. This video is 46 minutes long. This video is 46 minutes and 59 seconds, where you will see the difference between video content that in the shorts video where you are not able to click on related content and look at another video and another video, however many. There's no limit to how many videos you can add with regard to related content. However, what you'll see in the screen recording are clear differences between certain content that has to do with the Estelle Kennedy law office. And also I'm documenting this plenty of times. I'm encountering this plenty of times as I'm exposing what is relevant, that the entity is hostile to being exposed, which is public corruption, criminal surveillance, that YouTube, Google is engaging in and profits from and is making money off of, is aware is underway, which Google is engaged in as well. But nonetheless, this is relevant to content that in another video, other videos, the related content, you are fully capable of viewing the video in the way in which it's intended to be viewed and not barring your ability to further continue down what is essentially a chain of evidence, looking at what is one video after another that is related, after another that is related, and you are clearly able to see a pattern where I'm showing and proving the existence of a specific environment, as I've termed it. The specific environment is relevant to what is a pattern of conduct that is underway where I'm located as I document it. And it is speaking to what is no respecter of persons, regardless of whether it is a Starbucks cafe or a Estelle and Kennedy law office, which is equally engaged in criminal surveillance in a specific environment, which is demonic, where that same exact demonic behavioral pattern is underway. When you're getting to the name of the venue, Estelle and Kennedy law office in Upland, California, versus in Andy's Burgers in Ontario, California, or Starbucks Cafe in whatever city, I'm just giving you what are different names of venue. It's a venue in an environment that is entirely unnatural. That's the malice. That's the malice inherent to a government engaging in surveillance with the people. And so this is revealed in the video content, and it's not a coincidence that I am exposing this about the people, about companies, about so-called professionals who are all demons who are engaging in a gang stalking system referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring, demonic behaviors, demonic activity, Satan's system that's underway in the United States. And it's a fully supported criminal system, not an unsupported and biased conspiracy theory. All right. But nonetheless, this video is uploaded onto YouTube, and the entity that is very much aware of everything that I'm uploading on the internet. And when they find something to be what would appear on its face to be, you can nitpick through the content that they are all obsessively watching as I expose on the internet, as I publish it online. You'll have hundreds of views for one video, such as a vehicle in the middle of the street or in a parking lot with their hazard lights on, which you, ignorant about how the pattern of conduct operates and are looking at one video, are intended to miscalculate, misconstrue, not understand, and in other words, immediately disregard and render illegitimate with regard to the pattern of conduct and understanding how surveillance is underway. That as opposed to very probative evidence regarding what is an intent to obstruct justice, regarding a clearly viewable pattern of conduct of what is a fake sun, as I'm juxtaposing it amongst two different cities at the same time. And in two different cities, I'm showing what is the sun over me from morning until evening. That pattern, which is far more interesting than a vehicle in a parking lot with hazard lights on, that's what gets 0 views. The entity is deliberately engaging in this, and this is also protecting the government. State actors like Jason Isaac Fields, a violent sex offender and a thief who has also been engaged in what YouTube is facilitating, stealing my content, muzzling me. This is oppressing me by suppressing my evidence online, removing my evidence from online, the inability for the platform or the refusal for it to permit me to enjoy the exact same treatment as everyone else on YouTube, on a venue, on the platform, in order to expose what is public corruption through my body of evidence, as opposed to how everyone else is able to enjoy the ordinary design purpose of YouTube in the way in which it was intended to operate. I'm being deprived of that right, while it is a threat to me, because I'm exposing through video content published on YouTube what is a pattern of conduct that's occurring and ongoing for purposes of both stealing my content, stealing my ideas like Jason Isaac Fields has done, like the entity has committed, and also at the same time still gang stalking me, which is a threat to my life, physical safety and well-being, and my liberty, as I've been subject to multiple kidnappings, which again, those demons engage in what are criminal acts of infringement, all right? Stealing my content, creating companies where they're stealing my ideas and then misrepresenting it as their creation, their ideas, their inspiration behind the formation of companies and whatnot. Like this, again, this demon, this thief, this gang stalker, this glorified corrupt actor, Jason Isaac Fields, who was still gang stalking while this evidence is being, again, repeatedly manipulated online. This is what the purpose of capturing this podcast, because this screen recording video is not the only one that is being manipulated with regard to keeping the views at 0. And also, if you're, as you're aware, the number of views is affecting whether or not a video will generate in an ordinary Google search for the channel. And this is the way it's affecting what the entity wants to be as suppressed as possible, regardless of my publishing it on the venue of the internet. It is equally criminal with regard to obstruction of justice, and it's also intentionally and deliberately underway. And that's what I want to speak to, as this one video is an example of it. Another video that I did document as well with regard to the entity engaged in an ongoing conspiracy. And the conspiracy is also, it's not just the conspiracy, it's the ongoing criminal acts in furtherance of this conspiracy to obstruct justice and keep my evidence exposing public corruption suppressed online, which is criminal conduct committed by the same government. Thieves such as Jason Isaac Fields, who was going to be, again, removed from and stripped of everything that this terrorist, this sex offender, this psychopath, this demon-possessed gang stalker has stolen from me and profited from, while targeting me and stealing my content while suppressing my content on my channel as I'm publishing it online. The video that is entitled 2025-04-29 at 11:17 a.m. And this is video content regarding my being kept under surveillance on the venue of the internet, and the entity engaging in this iteration of surveillance with regard to monitoring using ads that are very specific. Also, when you're being monitored, monitoring is a very personalized crime. Monitoring is demonic, and the demon possessed that are monitoring you, the demonic environment that is monitoring you, is engaged in real-time reactions to everything that you do. And what I'm doing is documenting. And so the demon possessed and the demons that are in this demonic environment are engaged in an ongoing admission of monitoring me, while the fake sun, the engineered light, the amplified audible activity, and the ongoing monitoring on the video of the internet are an ongoing execution of that pattern of conduct. And what I'm documenting in the video 2025-04-29 at 11:17 and 2 seconds, which is a 14-minute and 30-second video. This is another video speaking to public corruption, speaking to what is monitoring that is underway on the venue of the internet. And it's another video that is changed in the amount of views. And I'm going to go into that detail, but I first want to speak on the two videos that I'm referring to. And then I want to go into how the entity is deliberately changing the view amounts on my videos, which are one way earlier today and another way on what is the end of the day. And that's what I wanted to capture, but I'm going to include on the podcast, and I'm going to let you know these two videos in particular. So, but remember, the substance of what it is that the entity doesn't want any views to be added on and wants to intentionally make sure that the views are remaining at zero, close to zero. While they are at the same time obsessively consumed with everything that I'm publishing. The entity is not ignorant. The entity is not viewing my content. The entity is not ignorant about what it is that I'm publishing. I have millions of people that know exactly who I am and what I'm publishing, and the entity is engaged in an ongoing criminal intent to obstruct justice, to suppress what it is that I'm exposing, while simultaneously being underway. Understand, simultaneously underway is the intent to steal my ideas, my content, while I'm being gang stalked, an ongoing threat to my life, safety, well-being. And the entity has profited from stealing my content, my ideas, and even creating companies like Jason Isaac Fields has, and he's going to be stripped of this company. He's going to be stripped of, he doesn't own any company that he's gotten that generated the ideas from gang stalking me. Gang stalking me is what caused me to create the content proving that demons like Jason Isaac Fields are gang stalking, and they're doing so in an environment pursuant to the system that I have fully expounded and laid out and detailed. From that creation, which belongs to me, so does the company that Jason Isaac Fields created. This demon is gang stalking, and the entity is suppressing the evidence, and it includes the video that is generated 2025-04-29 at 11:17 and 2 seconds. And this video is exposing what is, I'm surrounded in the specific environment, so I'm being gang stalked in relevant position, which is, again, the monitoring system. Monitoring is underway online as well. Surveillance is underway online as well. And while I am in this video I'm looking at a video, watching it in the view, or rather listening to it is specifically what I was doing. But whether you're listening to it with your eyes closed or watching it with your eyes open, I am viewing content on YouTube. I am asleep. I'm listening to it, and it's in the feed where ads do not generate in the feed. And I am showing in that video what you will see is sponsored 2 of 2 ads, meaning the first ad is exactly what it is that I spoke of. referencing pubic hair. Remember, the entity that is monitoring, it's a very personalized and specific criminal act, and it's also exposing the sex offender. It's also speaking to the desperate means whereby the entity is harassing and psychologically torturing while referencing things such as pubic hair while they're engaging in the sex offensive federal group stalking monitoring. And it's also underway on the venue of the internet, where YouTube is generating ads in the feed where ads are not generated. You can watch videos in the feed without any ads interfering. And the entity not only interfered in the feed with ads while I was sleeping with the intent to interfere with my sleep, doing so with the substance of that ad is relevant as well. This is the sex offender admitting to being obsessed with my genitalia while the content of the ad was referencing pubic hair. Now, what you'll see in the video is that it's at the second ad, sponsored 2 of 2. That means that there were 2 ads. The first ad is what was referencing pubic hair. The second ad is an A&E commercial, and it's also relevant, the content. It's an A&E commercial. It's a sunny day. It's a reference to summer. They're referencing the fact that the entity is gang stalking me under the fake sun. And this is deduced from the content that the entity is using to monitor me and monitor my evidence as I'm exposing the demons possessed, who are violent sex offenders, who are indeed monitoring my genitalia while they use ads in the feed on YouTube that does not generate ads, doesn't interfere with those videos, and it's a reference to what is obsession with my genitalia and apparently my pubic hair as well. It's a reference to the genitalia, and also a reference to what is the summer. The summer is a reference to the sun, the sunlit environment, where the entity is monitoring me in a very personalized and specific manner with regard to what it is that I'm exposing, what I remain subject to stalking in the specific environment under the fake sun. All of this is exposing the entity that is engaged in monitoring on the venue of the internet. This video in particular, which is again at a higher level of views earlier this morning, is again, the views have changed. And so this is a reduction in the views on YouTube that is indeed monitoring in all the ways in which I'm exposing that. This is exposing what is surveillance that is underway on the venue of the internet, where you do not have privacy. This is a fallacy with regard to the police needing to have probable cause in order to search your cell phone. This is giving you a false sense of security, thinking that you're protected with constitutional rights and that it's not already known what is in your cell phone, who you're text messaging, what it is that you're looking at on your internet browsers, what pictures and videos that you've already captured. That's an illusion. Okay, we are being kept under surveillance, and it is on our communication devices. It is also online in the body of evidence, which is the P.O.C., while the entity is going to the far extent to obstruct justice, which I'm going to prosecute for. And it's also relevant to those who are going to fork over and be stripped of all of that which was stolen from me while they were trying to gang stalk me and psychologically torture me into a kidnapping and ultimately into murder. This is what this monster, Jason Isaac Fields, has engaged in with his sex partner, Tracy Banks, and is still spiritually attacking. That is monitoring. And also I'm proving with regard to the tangible evidence, letting you know about what the demon possessed are doing, which is gang stalking. And gang stalking, monitoring, surveillance is underway on the internet. When the entity is changing the views on my videos, when the entity is monitoring with very specific ads that are appearing in a way that YouTube isn't designed to have any ads interfering with videos, and I prove it with, again, evidence where you can see it, and also things such as the platform not performing in ways in which it is designed. These are the 2 videos where this is the evidence of what is interfering with obstruction of justice. And this is also evidence regarding what is actually surveillance. Everything that the entity is doing, trying to obstruct justice, is ongoing evidence of surveillance itself. In addition, these 2 videos, again, 2025 429 at 11:17 and 2 seconds. And the other video screen recording 2025 0424 at 6:49 and 22 p.m. That's the name of the other video. These 2 videos are altered with regard to how many views they have. And I will go ahead and read that to you. What I captured specifically is at what is 7:14 a.m. today on May 2nd. It's currently May 3rd, but this is going to be published for the May 2nd podcast. At May 2nd at 7:14 a.m., the video that is entitled 2025 429 at 11:17 and 2 seconds. This is the video demonstrating how YouTube is a means of what is psychological torture, harassment, domestic terrorism, while the entity is monitoring me and interfering with a means of just interfering with my sleep through having a use of an ad, which again, a change in the volume, and also the content of the ad referencing pubic hair. This is all that which is reasonably designed to psychologically harm the target individual. It's also happening in the specific environment where I'm being gang stalked. As in that video, you'll see the engineered light on Tracy Banks' ceiling. You'll see the fake sun over my head. And I also capture evidence juxtaposing what's happening in LA on the same day at the same time. Surveillance is indeed underway while the entity used on the platform YouTube, where I am under surveillance, and so is all of the evidence about what all the millions of people know exactly what I'm publishing online, while intentionally keeping my views at a low level in order to obstruct justice, suppress the evidence against thieves, criminals like Jason Isaac Fields, who have stolen from me, stolen ideas that belong to me. It's stolen what is the creation of companies founded on ideas and creations that belong to me. And this demon did it by gang stalking in furtherance of committing murder of another person. And then wants to be viewed as a genius, wants to be viewed as a creator, wants to be viewed as some sort of entrepreneur, job creator, and some sort of person that's creating any sort of solutions to the environment, etc. When he is gang stalking, using demons that he is, again, monitoring, a demon-possessed person that's monitoring, using witchcraft in order to steal ideas and steal ideas from me, and then use those ideas stolen to engage in what are corporate exploits, corporate ventures and whatnot. This is what's going to be this, and this is the evidence that is supporting everything that's been created on my back, meaning I've been gang stalked while the entity sought to profit from my demise. And it's very specific what the entity has stolen from me in order to create anything, a business, jobs for other people. You've created any sort of laws, or you've created any sort of anything where you are generating income, or you are getting any sort of credit. You've been given awards, you've been given recognition. These demons, these terrorists are going to be exposed for that. And they're also going to be stripped of all of the profits, everything that they gained while they were trying to secretly murder and torture someone in the background while stealing the ideas from myself. I'm the person that's been subject to this gang stalking system. And the evidence of the entity suppressing my evidence online while simultaneously millions of people know exactly what I'm publishing on the internet at the same time, that's speaking to an egregious level of malice that is just unfathomable. But you have, again, the platform performing in a way that is very peculiar. When your views are at, for example, 100,000 views, then all of a sudden, later in the day, it's at only, let's say, 37 views. How does this happen? What happened to all your views? How does this work? The entity that's engaging, but again, the entity, they're not giving 137. That would be way too much exposure for exposing all these corrupt police departments, the corrupt sheriff's departments, the corrupt federal government, terrorists like Jason Isaac Fields, who is under no circumstances controlling any amount of information that's going to be exposed about him, the predator that he is, the sexually perverted stalker that he is, the psychopath that he is, and the ongoing desperate and embarrassing exploits that he went to in order to, in an effort to gain wealth. And he's losing all of it. He's not keeping anything. He's nothing other than a placeholder with regard to property that belongs to me that he thought he was going to keep forever, because he anticipated that I would be dead by now, but that didn't work. And so the entity is engaging in this criminal conduct, and the entity is trying to control the information that is filtered out. This is also, not only is the information going to be thoroughly released, but the documentation showing the entity's criminal effort to do so is a part of everything else that's going to be released. So this is what is documented. The video that is captured, the 47-minute video was screen recording 2025-04-24 at 6:49 and 22 seconds. This video, as of my capturing this podcast tonight, is at 0 views. Whereas this morning, when I specifically captured in images, and I will include those in the podcast where you can see them in this description box of the podcast. So whether you are on YouTube or whether you are listening to the podcast, in the description box of the podcast, the description for this episode, you can click on the link and you'll be able to see it. Direct proof of everything that I'm exposing about the entity. And I'll also include links about the videos that the entity is intentionally trying to keep suppressed so that you don't see it, and so you can have direct link to it, and so that you see it. The very things that the demons don't want you, that the thieves, that the criminals, that the stalkers don't want you to know about, that's exactly what you need to focus in on. Okay. But the video that I'm referencing, it has 7 views, as I am documenting that at 7:15 in the morning on May 2nd, 2025. And as I'm capturing this podcast tonight, fully anticipating a manipulation of the views, it is at 0. And these are the things that you document in order to prove public corruption, in order to prove surveillance in the ways in which I've exposed it, because the entity outside of evidence, Google, YouTube, will outright deny it. The people of the state, as you've heard, psychopaths like Tracy Banks, they want to criminally defame you. They want to engage in all manner of defamatory epithets that actually apply to them. That they are those epithets the demon possessed are projecting at all times. I don't have to make up anything. If there was actually a mental health issue that I actually suffered from, I wouldn't have any shame in that either. This is again the entity that is being exposed for how despicable and disgusting and ruthless it is. And Satan, which is a spirit, is speaking nothing other than the fact that Satan is hostile and outright just infuriated because of my ability to do so unapologetically, because I don't have anything to hide on. The entity targeted me. Remember, I did not start this. The entity, the demon possessed, and the public entity, the state of California, the U.S. government, targeted me. And I am responding, and I am going to enforce my rights for doing so, period. Okay, so the video that is 2025-04-29 at 11:17 and 2 seconds, this video that's 14 minutes and 31 seconds. This morning, I captured images with regard to this video having what is 4 views at 7:14 a.m. And as I'm capturing this podcast tonight on the same day, May 2nd, 2025, it is at 2 views. So that's a loss of 2 views, and the other video, a loss of all 7 views. Now, regardless of whether you've got 2 million views, you've got 2,700 views, or you have 7 and 4 views, you are understanding what is the performance of the platform that is inexplicably contradictory, and how is this ever happening but for the entity directly engaged in manipulating my channel, manipulating what is exposed to the public. All right, so this is very specific. This is speaking to also what is very specific knowledge about what is accumulating views and making sure that those views stay at a certain level. Okay, it's analogous to hundreds and hundreds of views on a vehicle in a parking lot with hazard lights on, and 0 views on the Los Angeles Police Department exhibiting demon possession and mental illness by flying in 47 minutes in engineered light outside of my apartment in relevant position, clearly gang stalking and clearly harassing and psychologically harming someone. That's the purpose for that. And then that is, again, the clear intention to do so. And it's also relevant with regard to evidence that's on YouTube, where surveillance is underway online. Okay. This is, again, a captured documentation of what is criminal obstruction of justice. This is also evidence which is speaking to the entity that is gang stalking me and has gang stalked me for the purpose of stealing content and ideas that belong to me, and the formation of companies making any amount of money that belongs to me. And it will remain at my discretion what I do with these companies that have been formed while I was being gang stalked, and required my being gang stalked for them to even have these ideas inspiring these acts of corruption, these criminal acts of infringement, these criminal acts of trademark theft, etc., because it's criminal conduct. It's not a matter of civil court. It's pursuant to federal group stalking and monitoring. The entity, the state, the U.S. government engages in domestic terrorism, engages in psychological torture to steal ideas from oppressed people that don't have a voice, and are even suffer what is murder, loss of life, or kidnapping, or both, because you could be kidnapped and then you lose your life in the facility, and the entity is under those circumstances also controlling the narrative, stating, oh, they killed themselves in their cell, they hung themselves with a bed sheet, or the inmates attacked them, all right, or they engaged in what is, throwing themselves over the rail. The entity is engaged in what is murder. The entity is engaged in the pattern of conduct in these facilities, kidnapping, and they do so, what I'm exposing, with the intent to steal from the one that they know is some sort of gifted person, some sort of prodigy. All right, that's why I've been gang stalked in the first place. And I'm going to steal everything that the entity stole from me. I'm going to take back what was stolen from me, and take back every benefit derived from that which was created by theft from me. And it's also very specific what was stolen from me, because the ideas that are embodied within the P.O.C. is what has inspired the creation by a bunch of demons. I want to be clear, every thief that engaged in creating companies, stealing content, those are demons. So they are simultaneously admitting to being demon possessed. You know that the demon possessed are violent sex offenders. You know that the demon possessed are psychopaths, closeted psychopaths. So you are going to be made known aware of a lot when they are subject to what is justice on the world scene. It is now May 3rd, but this is going to be published for the May 2nd podcast. And you will be able to see, reference specifically the documentation regarding my evidence on YouTube being tampered with, because this is not merely content that's made for funsies. This isn't content about how to drop it low in the best effective manner to get somebody to buy you a BBL and a new wig and get your nails done. I am publishing content regarding American citizens being made aware about surveillance, which is speaking to what is both mental illness, what is the propaganda pumped out, intentionally, deliberately pumped out in this country regarding criminal defamation about the entity that's psychologically torturing American citizens and then falsely depicting that population as mentally ill. And that is the actually mentally ill population that does so. And they are a part of the medical field. They're part of law enforcement. They're part of the legal profession. They are in the courts. They are the people of the state that are gang stalking. All right. I am publishing evidence about the specific environment, which is in defiance of nature as we understand it based on rudimentary principles taught to us in 5th grade in the United States, and that which NASA itself has never spoken on. All right. That's what I'm publishing evidence about: unprecedented bases of constitutional violations of the American public. That's what I'm publishing documentation about: the ongoing inhumane and unconstitutional and unabated program of psychological torture and stalking by a government in concert with a civilian population, gang stalking, referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring. That's what I'm publishing evidence about. And the entity is deliberately and knowingly and continuously manipulating my platform in order to keep that evidence that is very probative, very damning, very embarrassing. All right. Revolutionary in many ways, and groundbreaking with regard to a lot of other secrets that when the public is exposed to this information, it's going to inevitably lead to what is understanding a lot of other things. All right. So the entity is engaging in what is obstruction of justice, and manipulating my evidence is a threat to my life. There's no legitimate investigation underway by the government, especially the government that has, again, under any circumstances, profited from my demise, profited while I'm being gang stalked, kept me subject to gang stalking while stealing ideas and creations that belong to me, while simultaneously suppressing my channel where I'm publishing it online, again, suppressing my website, the P.O.C website, which is at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com. The entity is doing so through things such as manipulating the Google search when you look for Erica Lorraine Spencer, manipulating the content as it's published online, where you find it in the Google search. All of this is intentional, deliberate conduct, which I've been documenting for years. Okay, this is speaking to an unprecedented prosecution of the U.S. government that is engaged in surveillance, and the inevitable prosecution and exposure of that, and the entity that engaged in a very heavily documented, albeit ongoing campaign to try to hide it at every moment before they could not hide it anymore. And it's posing an unlawful threat that the government is also going to be liable for. All right, this is P.O.C.